Welcome back, my friends. Do you ever just kind of sit back, like, I don't know, lately I've been just wanting to like kind of just sit back, play some video games, have a little bit of fun. I did a bunch of sim racing yesterday morning. I was playing a lot of EA Sports WRC, a lot of just kilotons WRC games. Pulled out the good old trusty thrusty, the Thrustmaster T248, was just sitting there, was having a lot of fun. Then a little bit later in the afternoon, I decided to just jump on Starfield Shattered Space and start playing that. So what happened is I put out a video yesterday, and I was playing the game. I was just going through, doing the motions, you know, whatever, getting through the story. Came across a guy. I needed to get a key so I could get into a dam. So I didn't mean to kill him. I just shot him one time. I was like, oh man, but he died like instantly. I was like, gosh, dang it. So what happened is then all the security like came after me. Like I was like a murderer or whatever. I mean, I went through the whole damn part, did all that stuff. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going back to, you know, drop off the thing. And it just turned into like this big old freaking, like I was stuck for a while. I'm trying to figure that out. So I ended up getting past all that. I ended up having to go all stealthy and stuff. Well, come to find out, when I go to talk to the council after doing all the other stuff, I go to talk to the council and one of the security dudes comes up right when I hit the button to start talking to him. The security dude comes up and he's like, you need to come with us. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not even gonna fight you. And so I go to jail for 7 freaking days in the game. And then I get out and they said I was locked up for stealing artwork. I was like, so this had nothing to do with killing that freaking NPC? This was all about artwork that I picked up that I didn't even realize I picked up. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? So I go through that whole thing and like, oh man, I stayed up pretty late last night playing some Starfield Shattered Space. I probably just since the DLC came out, I've probably put like another 8 hours into it because I started playing around, I don't know, I think it was like 3 o'clock and I stayed up till like 2 o'clock in the morning playing like Starfield and stuff. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like going through the game and you know, I mean, like back when I was going through the main story, you know, you have all the powers and stuff that you start getting. Obviously, you know, I literally just have played through that game. A lot of it mainly is trying to just like get through the game, not a whole lot of combat or anything like that, but this DLC is pretty heavy combat. Like there's a lot of combat and stuff. And so I get to this part, like I'm trying to fight like this boss guy. Like I think it's the end of the DLC. Like I literally think it's the end of the DLC. If you watch the 2 hours of video footage that I uploaded, you'll see, but I'm there and I'm trying to fight this dude and like it's just super annoying because a whole bunch of things just keep coming at you and stuff. And I'm just like, gosh dang, man, this thing is so frantic. And, you know, I kind of just, you know, am to the point with video gaming where lately all I've really wanted to do is just be in the world, exploring, having fun, just playing around. Really not a whole lot of I don't know, like I'm not necessarily looking for that like super challenging experience anymore. I just want, you know, to be able to get through like the story content and do all of that stuff and just spend most of my time exploring, especially in a game like Starfield. I just want to go to different maps. I just want to go to different planets. I just want to explore. I want to have fun. I want to just, you know, roam around. Like I feel like, and there's a reason for this. Like I kind of feel like gaming in general, and Starfield is probably the game that I should be putting in that extra fine detail to learn the systems, to do everything, and to just like fully embrace and like really flesh out the system, because there's just been so many moments in Starfield, like while I started playing it, that like things have just like, whoa, like that was mind blowing the way that turned out. And I understand why people love Bethesda games, and why they do so well. And so when I'm sitting there, like in the very first, I did like the Crimson Fleet. When the game first came out, I did the Crimson Fleet story and I did everything for them. Like I was like, yeah, man, I didn't do it for the Crimson Fleet. I did it for the UNC or whatever. I was doing all of their missions. Like I was like, yeah, infiltrating the Crimson Dawn or Crimson Fleet or whatever, and I'm doing all their missions, you know, and I'm getting in real good with them. And then at the very end, I instead of going back to the UN, I freaking give the Crimson Dawn the freaking money and stuff, and it just kind of, it was cool, man. It was freaking cool to be like, to go through the whole thing like you're an undercover and then switch sides at the very end, like to be able to have that kind of a choice. It was just incredible. So like as I'm sitting here and I'm playing freaking, you know, Starfield Shattered Space, and I'm just going through, and like here I am, I'm just like, I'm kind of going through the motions. I'm doing it. I'm following the little blue dots. I'm just doing whatever I'm supposed to, just having fun, you know, kind of like turning my brain off and just, you know, playing this game. It's almost like I've gotten myself into like this like not wanting confrontation, you know, like I was playing Black Myth Wukong, and like I was okay with that, you know, I was okay with that. I was having fun, but then like the constant way that game just goes ramps up really super hard. Then you go out, you grind a little bit, you come back, you fight the boss, and they're a pushover. I was getting so irritated with that freaking inconsistency with Black Myth Wukong that I stopped playing it. Like I stopped playing it, and I haven't been back in like a week or two. I was uploading all my video, and I was doing it, and I was getting really into it. And then there would be like times where I'd be like, yeah, I'm really into this. I freaking love this game. And then there were times like, I'm so sick of this garbage. I just want it to be done. I want it to be over with. It doesn't make any sense. Like it just feels like a super unbalanced game. And there were like moments that I was perfectly fine with that, just doing all the grinding and everything like that. And then other times where I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, this game is just getting so annoying because it just feels so unbalanced. And then you get all these other games that are coming out that everybody's screaming at the top of their lungs, like, oh my gosh, that's so woke and blah, blah, blah. You know, like Star Wars Outlaws. I played through Star Wars Outlaws. I went through that game, and it was definitely, you know, obviously that one was broken and balanced too. You know, like some stuff was just almost too hard to get through, and then if you drop down the difficulty or whatever, you can get right through it, and it doesn't even matter. And it's like these games that are coming out, because I remember, and this is like the whole point that we're getting to, because I remember when I was younger, okay, when I first started playing video games, you know, regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, stuff like that, I don't even remember like difficulty settings. I don't remember difficulty settings. I mean, it was like, here's your game, good luck. You're not getting a patch. You're not getting balance tweaks after launch. You're not getting anything. This is the game. This is what you're getting. Enjoy it. Have fun. And a lot of us grew up playing that kind of stuff. But as we got older, especially myself, like as I've gotten older, the path of least resistance for some games literally just feels like, okay, yeah, it's just like a no-brainer. You just flip the switch and you're like, all right, I just want to get through the story. You know, I mean, like time constraints when you get older, you got a job, you got other things, and then, you know, and so here's my dilemma, guys. Here's my dilemma, damn it. There are some games that I absolutely just want for it to be a challenge and not have a freaking difficulty slider, because it's too easy to just be like, all right, flipping it down and going through that game. But at the same time, because I buy all my games digitally now, and if I go through a game like on easy mode or something like that, or I go through a game on normal, usually I play through on normal. That's usually what I'll set it to. I don't usually go for like hard. I don't really always, I don't ever start out playing a game on easy mode, ever, never, not one time. The only way I ever really switch those is, you know, normally, like I played through half, I would say almost half of Star Wars Outlaws on like the normal mode, and then actually on the outlaw mode. I was playing that one. That was one that I was like, all right, I'm gonna crank it up to outlaw and I'm gonna play through. I went through like half of that game on outlaw mode, and then I was like, you know what, man? Like I want to get through this. You know, people are saying that this game is like 20 hours or something like that. I was like, all right, I want to see how long I can get through it, you know, get rid of some of the frustrating stealth sections, stuff like that. So I drop it down to easy, and then I play through the end of the game on the easiest mode. And I'm like, it goes from like really freaking tough, over challenging in some parts, to literally like walking through and I'm like, what the freak is going on with like these settings? It's like easy mode doesn't challenge you at all. Like literally it's pretty much story mode. Like what they say, you can just walk through the game on this. I remember another game that came out. It was that Still Rising, that Souls type game that had like the easy mode that you could literally make it so nothing could hit you and stuff, and you could play through the game like that. I played through that whole game like that just to see how it was, and it was funny because like these games, man, like games these days, and I think this is why a lot of people are really starting to like feel like games are just being freaking, you know, rubber stamped and put out there. And I think a lot of it has to do with us as gamers. And I'm saying that straight up. Like I feel like a lot of that has to do with us as gamers because I think we intentionally drop our games in I think we lower the settings. Like I can admit that. I do. If I get to a point where I'm just like, man, I just want to play the game, instantly I'll drop the settings. I will. I'll drop the settings. And I think a lot of people do that. And that's why we're not getting the rewarding experiences that we should have. And then there's other people out there that are just masochists and they love their games hard and they play so many games on hard levels. So it kind of deludes the difficulty for them too, because they're so used to that and the games are just not scaling with their abilities as much as they should be. And that's kind of interesting because when I go into a game on normal mode, most of the time, most of these games on normal mode are barely challenging enough to like really like push back on you and stuff. Like Final Fantasy 16. Let's take Final Fantasy 16 for instance. I played through all of Final Fantasy 16 on the PlayStation 5 at, you know, just the action mode. So you get action mode, you get story mode. So I played through that all on action mode, and I got pretty far, you know, like maybe a boss would kill me like once, you know, like during fighting them, and then I'd go back and then I'd be able to beat him and stuff. I think you would actually fight the boss, and then if you died, it would bring you back to a certain point in the boss fight. So it definitely wasn't like super hard, like you didn't start all the way over again. If I remember correctly. So I was able to get through, you know, that on the action focused mode or whatever, and I was like, okay, this is awesome, man. This is the type of, you know, game that it was like. Then once you get to the end, like it gets super challenging, you know, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I like how that game ramped up, and that one there was actually pretty good. It gives you that sense of like power, but then it also gives you that sense of like vulnerability, and probably one of the most balanced ARPGs that I've played in a very long time. And I love that. I love that about Final Fantasy 16. That was that game was super fun to play through that. I really enjoyed that. And so when I, you know, now in hindsight, when I look back and I'm playing through some of these games, and I kind of feel like we do this to ourselves. Either we're playing on hard the whole time, all the time, so we're never, our skills are just increasing and outpacing whatever the games can bring out. Like you've seen it all. You've been there, you've done that. You know all the tricks in the trade. You've learned from every single game that you've played, and your skills are just unimaginably like too good. And you're too good for the games that are coming out now, and so you're like, oh my gosh, this stuff just sucks. It's too easy, blah blah blah. And so it's easier to just, you know, be negative toward the video games. Or and what I'm getting to, guys, is I kind of feel like I've put myself in a unique situation to where overall it kind of shakes out as balanced, you know, because there's other people out there just blowing right through Black Myth Wukong, being like, yeah, this game was super easy, blowing right through, like, you know, Elden Ring, some of these games, and these games still freaking challenge me pretty dang good. And then there's other games, you know, that don't challenge me. So I would say I kind of feel like I guess I'm kind of getting like a balanced gaming experience that feels good for me. Like I feel comfortable with it. I'm not afraid to go out of my way and start playing like a harder game and challenging myself. Like Lords of the Fallen, the new one that just came out. I've been going back to that, like, and playing it every so often. And I finally beat the what the freak is his name? The big the big monster thing, you fall down into the ground. I finally beat him. I forgot his name, but I finally beat him, and like I was stuck on him for a while. And so it's like I keep going back to these games when I'm like, all right, I want to play it. I want to play it. And so I've been going back to them and stuff. But the thing is those games still challenge me. So I'm still able to get, you know, a good challenge. And then other games, you know, it's easy for me to, you know, kind of just, I've never had a problem, you know, really getting into like an open world game and just exploring and having fun that way. And so when I play these games, you know, if I drop the difficulty, like I mean, like obviously I'm not playing Starfield on the hardest thing, because it would just, you know, I haven't put enough hours into it to where I feel like, you know, I should be doing that, and that's time consuming. That's time consuming, you know, for me, and it should be though, because Starfield is a game that absolutely deserves you investing that time in it. Like it absolutely does. Like there's so much to do in that game. Crank up the difficulty level and go have some fun. But I guess is what I'm trying to say is I don't know if I've like wasted that experience. Maybe I should just start Starfield all over again, play a brand new game, a brand new character, and like really force myself to get into that. But there's I have such a problem that I like to play new things a lot. I've never been that kind of guy that can just stick to one game and keep playing it over and over again. Like I need variety. I need like a lot of variety. And so I play so many different things that I don't feel like I ever give myself enough time to really devote to any one experience. And I kind of feel like a lot of content creators and stuff have the same problem I do. Once you start creating content, once you start, you know, I mean, like working a full-time job, creating content, stuff like that, I just kind of feel like we don't have the opportunity to really put the time into these games, at least in the way that they deserve to be played. And a lot of our reactions to them are I feel like are knee-jerk reactions, and I kind of feel like a lot of content creators just kind of go with the flow. If somebody else says it's bad, they all just jump on the bandwagon, the hate wagon, obviously because the negativity pulls in clicks, and if it's a game that they just don't really care much about, it's easy to do that. Like Ubisoft games are easy to just, like seriously, you can, every Ubisoft game out there, you could be like, yeah, this is trash. You know what I mean? Like you could bash those really easy, but then there's some games that, like, you know, it's crazy, man. So I kind of feel like as a content creator, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I want to be able to devote more time to some of these games, and I know that that's unrealistic for me. So I'm going to keep playing the games that I do. So I guess if you really want to know what I'm thinking that I don't want to jump to conclusions for games on this channel anymore. Like if I can't put enough time into it, and I'll always be honest with you guys. I'll always tell you the settings and everything that I've played a game on, so that you guys know, so that you can base your judgment on that. And you know, because I don't think it's fair to literally play through a game on easy mode and really rate it, you know, like however. I don't know. This is just something I've been thinking about for a while. I don't necessarily think it's a good idea to play through a game on easy mode and then try to rate it. And I don't also I don't think it's a good thing to play through a game on hard mode and rate it, you know, because there's people out there that, I don't know. I wish there was more of a balanced way to play through a game. And I kind of always feel like normal mode, and I do play a significant amount of my games on normal mode. Like I rarely ever go to easy mode. Like Starfield, the only reason it's on easy mode right now is just because I haven't played it in a long time. And when I first jumped in to the Shattered Space, I was getting my butt handed to me in that freaking in the 0G. Like I was getting whooped pretty quickly. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna switch this. And so after I switched it, then things, you know, then it just kind of got easy. But normally I play everything, you know, usually on normal. Very rarely, it is pretty rare that I'll drop it to like easy mode. because I feel like normal just gives me that kind of like balanced approach for a game, but at the same time, that's usually the mode that developers say this is the intended mode, this is how we wanted it to be played, and like sometimes normal mode is super duper easy, and it's just like, okay, that was a pushover. But then there's gamers out there that literally have a problem with that, you know? I mean, maybe it's just because we've been so lax and so used to just getting these like really heavy story content games, you know, like what do they call them, one and dones? That we've just, you know, kind of, you know, let ourselves be taken over by other things other than the gameplay. And yeah, so I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that, like, guys, sometimes you just want to relax and play video games, but there is a reason to go out of your way to crank up that difficulty and challenge yourself more often. If you're falling into a loop of just playing games on like easy mode, or just playing them for the story, or just getting through them, challenge yourself a little bit. I know that with me, because I buy these games digitally, I have my whole collection. I can go back and I can try games out and play through things, and, you know, to increase the difficulty and stuff like that. All I'm saying is maybe try that every once in a while. Like after you beat a game and you feel comfortable with it, then go back through it and play it at like a higher level. See if that will give you a better experience, especially if you went through a game on easy mode and you felt like, oh man, this experience just wasn't that great. Try it on a harder difficulty. And see how that feels. You know, see how that, you know, changes the aspect or changes the game. And, you know, I kind of feel like that is that's a good habit to get into, because I mean, you got to think about it, guys. We're paying $70 for these games. We can't afford to treat these like one and done video games anymore. Like, we can't afford to do that. We have to try to get as much enjoyment or as much experience out of them as possible. We have to. I mean, play through these games twice, you know, play through it on whatever difficulty feels good for you at first, and then after you beat it, go through it again and crank that difficulty up and see if that game is still the same experience. Now, I get it, like playing a game like God of War Ragnarok, I get how that could be difficult because it's literally like a story beat thing, but at the same time, when you're playing through it at a lot harder difficulty, it transforms that experience to something like, oh my gosh, now you're paying more attention to the gameplay than you are paying attention to the story stuff. So I get it, man. There's games out there that 100%, like the first playthrough should be story, but then the second playthrough, you should play through your games a second time, just so that you can experience what that game really has to offer. Because if you just went through it for the story content, then you did not get the full experience. So that's what I'm saying. Give yourself enough time to play some of these games. Really try to enjoy them, because we can easily become creatures of habit and put ourselves in a gaming situation to where we are no longer reaping the benefits, nor building our skills, nor having a good experience, because we are cheating ourselves out of a gaming experience. Like there's been a pretty big uptick when it comes to these Souls games lately. You see everybody jumping in and trying to make them. You got games like Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, all of these games doing very, very well. And, you know, like it's crazy, man. It's crazy. So yes, if as a gamer, myself as an older gamer, I want to start trying to change things up a little bit, and maybe crank it up from, instead of playing on normal, maybe start off at hard or something, because there's a lot of games that I've played through since I started this channel on normal, and they just didn't feel like they were challenging enough to really give me that full-on experience. So that's what I'm gonna do going forward. Is I'm gonna start cranking up the difficulty a little bit more, maybe and you know, hopefully some of these games are interesting enough to like keep me engaged long enough, because that can make or break an experience too. If it's too damn hard at the very beginning, then, you know, I'm more likely to just stop playing, you know, than try to get through it. But I don't know, guys. Gaming has gotten weird over the years, man. Like it's changed so much from Nintendo and Super Nintendo to where we are right now with extreme difficulties and like being able to switch difficulties and literally put it on a story mode to just walk through games. My gosh, my friends, like this is crazy. This is crazy. So, all right, guys, if you like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.